And so when you feel overwhelmed, what I know about you is that your brain is full of a bunch of garbage. I am going to disappear overwhelm using a simple pitcher, mason jar, and a garden variety spiral notebook. I know. I'm not kidding. I'm actually going to disappear overwhelm. Overwhelm is something that you want to fight, because if you allow yourself to stay in a state of feeling overwhelmed by the amount of things that you have to do, that pressure and that uncertainty combined with this feeling that you can't get anything done is going to create anxiety in your life. It's going to impact not only your well-being, but it's also going to severely limit your ability to focus and get things done. So the most important thing with overwhelm is to understand what it is and a simple tool that you can use to get rid of it. So here's what we're gonna do. So let's pretend that this right here, this empty mason jar, is your brain. In order to do your best thinking, you need to make sure that you've got the full capacity of your brain leveraged and pointed at the things that are important to you. Here's the problem. When you go through life, as you go through life, what happens is, your brain starts to fill up with information, and that's what creates a state of feeling overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed is nothing more than having a full brain. So as you go through your day-to-day life and you start checking email and looking at texts and looking at Facebook and sitting in meetings and flipping through television channels and sending emails and writing Excel spreadsheets and running and picking up the kids at work and getting another text and looking at Instagram and looking at Twitter and checking out the news, your brain gets pretty full, doesn't it? And so when you feel overwhelmed, what I know about you is that your brain is full of a bunch of garbage. And so, I didn't think about the drain draining. I hope that's not bothering you, but it's certainly going to bother me. What you need to do in order to fight overwhelm is you've got to actually do a brain dump. You got to get rid of all that stuff so that you've got an empty brain so you can focus again. So how do you do that? It's easy to do with a cup of water because you just pour it out. This is what you're going to do. You are literally going to dump out everything that's in your head onto this piece of paper. Every concern, every worry, every to-do, everything that's bothering you, that you're thinking about, you're going to write down. All right, and when you're done writing down everything that's in your head, and there's absolutely nothing left, got something due tomorrow that I kind of forgot about. Once you get that stuff all down on a piece of paper, pull out a highlighter. Take a look. You could do everything on this list. You could. But what should you do? What are 3 things, just 3, that you should do in order to advance the things that matter to you? Let's see. I got to do that one. I got to do that one. And I got to do that one. The rest of this list is complete and utter garbage. It's other people's stuff. It's the email stuff. It's the meeting stuff. It's the stuff that's not all that important to me. It's not that mission critical. So by dumping everything out, I now not only have the 3 things I need to do, I've got a clear head so I can get it done. Hey, it's Mel. I wanted to interrupt that video because I know you're here on YouTube looking for inspiration, looking for motivation, and looking for empowerment. So I thought we'd take this relationship to the next level. How about you join me in a brand new 3-part training class that I'm teaching right now. It's called Take Control with Mel Robbins. It is free. It is packed with science. It is packed with coaching, and it is packed with action. In fact, this class is so good that the second that you click the link below, you're in, class begins, and I send you an email with a link to the workbook you're going to download. That's right. I'm not joking around here. So if you're ready to tap back into excellence and start executing and winning again, this is an opportunity you cannot afford to miss. Let's stop watching YouTube and let's start doing what you're learning on YouTube. Click below and I'll be the one to push you and coach you into changing your life. All right, I'll see you in class. Now back to the video. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like the world is coming at you, if you feel like you're spinning a million plates and juggling a million things right now and you're starting to get concerned because you're dropping balls and you can't figure out what you should focus on first, this video is for you. I woke up today totally overwhelmed. I got really emotional on a team call because I feel like I'm dropping a million balls right now. This morning, there were a bunch of emails that people had sent me. Hey, did you forget about this? Hey, could you get back to me on this? I got a couple text messages from very close friends of mine that I had promised blurbs to for their books. And I said I would do it. I didn't do it because I'm not organized right now. I'm just dropping balls. I'm overwhelmed. So my husband, Chris, came into the kitchen where I'm working at that table back there and had everything spread out, just stuff everywhere. He sat down with a piece of paper and he forced me to spend an hour with him basically doing what I call a brain dump, where you dump everything out on paper. But this particular brain dump had a unique structure to it. I want to share it with you because I want you to partner up with somebody in person or virtual and do this for each other. So he took out a blank piece of paper. He had me open up my email and my calendar and go email by email by email and walk him through one project at a time, what needed to get done. And then he would ask me follow-up questions. And when would you need to start that? And what help do you need with this? And is there anything else? And what else needs to happen? And he just wrote everything down. As we kept going, if there was anything on the list that could be done in a minute, send an email, quickly make the phone call, we just knocked it off. And then we kept going. And as I would bring a sense of urgency to some task, he would say, well, wait a minute, is this actually a priority today or can we schedule it for tomorrow? Is this a priority that we could do for next week? Having an objective third party write it all down for you, ask you these questions, it was liberating. Absolutely liberating, because half the stuff I've been panicked about, I don't even need to work on until Monday. What happens when things start to stack up is everything starts to feel urgent. And because you're the one that's starting to feel buried alive underneath all this stuff, it's very, very hard for you to be objective about getting yourself organized again. But having an objective third party there, game changing. Actually, let's go talk to Chris. Let's talk to Chris and see. Chris, can I ask you a question? He's probably annoyed. I was just talking about how transformative that was that you did with me. See this list that he's got right there? And what would you recommend if other people were doing it? I just said you got to show up with a blank piece of paper. You ask the other person to go, well, why don't you tell us the steps? Can you tell us the steps that you just did with me?
The only thing I didn't have other than a pad of paper and a pen was handcuffs. That would have been useful.
Why? Would you say that?
I think other than a pad of paper and a pen, it took extreme discipline to just listen and wait and listen and wait, be patient and listen, and just keep trying to keep you on task from email to email, just so that you can get it out. I don't know. I don't relate to it like rocket science. The hardest part is actually just
sitting down with somebody and asking for help.
Yeah, and putting up with whatever they need to do or process or be anxious about, and bite your lip and just keep going. I'm glad you found it helpful.
Extremely helpful.
Such that you're now
making a video.
Relaxed.
I know it's not on the list of things I was supposed to do today, but
no.
I was just inspired because it was incredibly helpful to have some objective person help me get out of the spinning analysis paralysis that I was in around feeling overwhelmed by everything that I need to do.
Well, that's also half the battle with you and I, because I'm not sure you always perceive me to be the objective party, because I have...
This is getting into marriage counseling now, so I think we're going to end the video right now. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Just get a partner and get a blank pad of paper, and You listen for your friend or loved one, write everything down, ask lots of questions, bite your lip, be patient, have them get it out, help them stay focused, and then swap and do the same. There you have it. Let us know if that helps you stop feeling paralyzed and overwhelmed. One more. Yes. What's your name?
Delaney.
Hi, Delaney.
Hi. I wanted to start off by saying I listened to your segment with Alex, to those feeling lost in your 20s.
Oh, yeah, she's talking about call her daddy.
You can't call me out like that at work.
Yes, you can. Girl, that is the #1 female-hosted podcast in the world.
Yeah. But I wanted to say, you said earlier in terms of the 5-second rule, the easiest part is knowing what you need to do. I feel like I've been a little overwhelmed lately. What would you say, or the biggest piece of advice when you don't know what you need to do before you save 5 seconds?
Are you talking about work, or are you talking about life in general, or?
I think all of the above, right?
Okay, great question. How many can relate to this? Excellent. Okay, so when it comes to work, a really great habit to get into, especially as y'all are making this big turn, is try to have a quick alignment meeting with the person you report to every Monday. And just go over what's on your plate and recheck in about what are the strategic objectives for this week so that you're aligned with what the person who you're reporting to. Because I'll give everybody the super simple secret other than visibility for being a rock star at work. Make your boss's life easier. Literally, you make the person that you report to's life easier because you're getting stuff done and you're solving problems. And here's the most important thing, you're communicating about what's getting done. You literally are a superstar because your boss is just as overwhelmed as you are. And so if you just touch base, even if you can't get a meeting, and you send the 17 things on your plate and you say, I'm a little overwhelmed, I just want to make sure that I know what the priority is this week. Because it is changing all the time, because they're responding as much as you are. That's #1. #2, at the end of the week on Fridays, send a short email saying this got done, this got done, this got done, this got done, this got done. And here are the things I'm going to need your help with on Monday. You keep somebody in the loop like that, they will help you create rails that keep you very focused and feeling more sure about what you're working on, okay? So that's #1, ask for help. Do not try to figure that out on your own. #2, when it comes to feeling lost in life and overwhelmed in life, always go back to your morning routine. Always go back to your morning routine. And there are 2 rules that I have for my morning routine. Everybody hates them. Nobody follows them. It changes your life. #1, do not sleep with your phone. Do not sleep with your phone. And the reason why I say do not sleep with your phone is because we're all addicted to it. If you were addicted to cocaine or alcohol, you wouldn't put it on your bedside table. But, you literally go to bed, and then before you're even out of bed, you literally doing this. And you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And if you're laying in bed reading work emails, or looking at Facebook, you literally just let your boss, sorry Tia, and all of your friends on Facebook walk in your bedroom. And more importantly, you let the world hijack your mind. So before you're even vertical, you are stressed out, overwhelmed. That one change, which you're not going to want to do, will solve the problem of overwhelm. And here's what I do. I plug my phone into the bathroom every night because it solves 2 problems. #1, when that alarm goes off, now I'm really screwed because it's not next to me. So I have to get out of bed. #2, the phone's not there. So as I wake up and I walk to the bathroom, I'm so mad at myself. But by the time I get to the bathroom, I'm now awake enough that I can turn the alarm off and flip the phone over. I don't pick it up. I don't do it. Even if I post things in the morning, I do that after I take 30 minutes for myself. What do I do in those 30 minutes? Well, I do all the stuff that that makes you feel better. I literally journal for a second. I move my body. This is a life changer. If you literally just work out for 10 minutes in the morning, it can be enough. I eat something healthy. I have a cup of coffee. I set my intention for the day. I think about the one thing I want to make progress on. And only then do I then pick up that phone. Then I let the world in. And by getting myself right with myself and setting myself up and giving myself 30 lousy freaking minutes to start the day, to clear my head, to think about what I want out of the day, to take care of myself just a little bit. Now I'm in a better place. Now I'm able to do it. And then there's one more exercise. It's kind of a spin on the person you want to be. So my daughter's 23 and had a really rough time with COVID. The last 2 years of her college imploded because of COVID. And she left college basically depressed, really unhealthy, drinking way too much. And she had a meltdown. And so she said, I sat down with her and my husband, and we just were talking with her, and I said, here's what I want you to do. If you ever feel overwhelmed or lost, I want you to draw a line down the center of a paper, and I want you to think back, when was a moment in my life where I felt happy, and I felt like I was happy about where my life was headed? And so my daughter said, senior year in high school. And I said, great, what were you doing then? What was life like then? She's like, well, I was getting up early, I was going to school, I saw my friends every day, I was playing lacrosse, so I exercised 6 days a week, I was only drinking 2 nights a week, I had something to look forward to. I'm like, great, now let's write down what your life looks like right now. Oh, I'm sleeping till noon, my friends have all left and started their lives, I drink every day, I'm not exercising. I'm like, great, compare the lists. You are wired for happiness. You're wired for clarity. You are wired for success. It's why you miss it when you don't have it. You can only miss something you know. The answers are in there. And so like we've said with a lot of the things, even though it's overwhelming, there are ways, simple ways that you can solve this. Go to your boss, start getting aligned, get direction, and then do what they tell you to do. That'll give you the structure right there. Ask for help always. Second thing is, go inside and take a look at what your habits looked like and your days looked like when you felt a little bit more in control, when you felt like yourself, and then compare with what you're doing now. Come back to your morning routine, and you will set yourself up to have a day that feels like you're in control, and that'll change everything. That was a great question. Hi, you did it!
Yes.
You did it!
Thank you. Thank
welcome.
you. My friend group, we're big fans.
Awesome.
Especially, we're transitioning just out of college right now. So, yeah, your podcast with Alex was great timing for me.
What did you get out of that conversation that I had with Alex?
I got, especially the relationship one. I don't know how you said it, but kind of, I need to fix who I am first, because like a relationship's kind of like a mirror of what you're feeling in a way.
Even worse, a relationship amplifies what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So if you go after that person and you're feeling insecure, and so you're chasing that person that's the hot guy, and if he only or she or even if the person ends up being with you, you're actually going to feel insecure because you didn't enter the relationship feeling good about yourself. So you're 1,000% right. Work on yourself first, because then you bring that to every relationship, and then the relationship is just additive to you versus amplifying the crap that you're trying to run from. And I only know that after really screwing things up in my 20s and 30s. Like literally disaster. I would attach myself to people in order to prove that I was okay. And it just made me feel worse about myself because I needed them to feel okay. So when the relationship broke up, I crumbled. I want to share a surprisingly simple thing that you can do in order to deal with overwhelm. And the reason why I say that this is surprising is because whenever you feel overwhelmed, isn't it true that the last thing that you want to do is take on anything else? You're sort of like, I can't do one more thing. I barely have time to go to the bathroom. I'm so overwhelmed. And that's why what I'm about to recommend is incredibly surprising, because this is going to seem like it's super counterintuitive as a solution based on research and based on, for sure, my personal experience, as a solution to moments in time where you feel overwhelmed by life or by the world or by what you're facing. Now, what is that surprisingly simple solution as a way to deal with overwhelm? Well, the surprisingly simple solution is to take on a simple little challenge that you're going to take on every day. You're going to take on something that aligns with growth and change. It pushes you forward, and it gives you something to look forward to every day. Because part of the reason why overwhelm is so debilitating is because when you're overwhelmed, your focus is scattered across absolutely everything. And you're thinking about your family and your health and the news and the this and the that and the presentation and the emails you didn't do and da 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 da. And at the end of the day, each and every one of those things is not really that important. There's probably, can we agree, 1, 2, or 3 things a day that really matter, that really need your attention? And the reason why we get so freaking overwhelmed with life is we allow our attention to get scattered and to get pulled in a bazillion different directions. And the solution to feeling more in control and to literally dealing with overwhelm, which is just an overwhelming amount of things that really, most of which are not that all important to you, but they're just distracting you, which then pulls your attention away from what really matters. You see, I'd rather have you do 2 or 3 things a day that really matter to you and let the rest just kind of fall where they fall, right? And so the surprisingly simple way to deal with overwhelm is to pick one thing that you're going to focus on every day for you. Like no matter what, you're going to do this thing, you're going to add a little structure, you're going to add something that you're committing to as a way to laser your focus on something that's in your control. It's absolutely awesome how this works. So I'm going to give you an example. When my husband first got diagnosed with depression, he became very overwhelmed. And what I noticed is that he decided to take this online fitness challenge. That's a little bit more than I'm telling you that you should do. But he did this fitness mental toughness challenge called 75 Hard. And even though it was a pain and even though it was hard, having this challenge to focus on as something he had chosen that he was going to commit to every day gave his life a simple structure that had a lot of things that were distracting him fall to the wayside. Same thing happened with our daughter. She became very overwhelmed after she graduated from college. She did not know what she wanted to do. She was in a really unhealthy place, and committing to a simple set of new healthy habits that really were things she could control and committing to doing it for 3 months, it gave her this real discipline around focusing on what mattered to her. And the overwhelm started to disappear because when you create a simple structure for yourself and you say, you know what I'm going to do this week, no matter what this week, I'm just going to get up when the alarm rings and I'm going to move my body for 30 minutes. And that is the simple structure I am going to put in place for me. And the reason why simple structures like this are so important is because in a sea of this, which is what overwhelm is, like all this stuff, you're like, nope, there is one thing that I am going to do for myself today. And that is the thing that I am going to focus on. And when you give yourself a simple structure, because you decided you're going to work on one thing, it puts on like blinders. Have you ever seen horses that get those blinders kind of on that? Like it is focusing your attention on something that matters to you. And that one surprisingly simple thing, give yourself a simple structure of one thing you're going to do every single day that gives you something to look forward to, that gives you a way to anchor in a sea of chaos and distraction. And you know that if you could just move your body for 30 minutes a day, or if you just got up and you journaled every morning, or if you just meditated for 10 minutes a day, and you were going to commit to doing that, a simple structure. And interesting, I see Pam saying, Mel, those little things, you know what it does? It keeps a horse from spooking because there's nothing coming at them this way. And isn't it true that life feels like it's coming at you like this? So a simple structure that you put in place, that's something you're excited about, you're empowered by, that you just want to do just because, a challenge, it raises your gaze. It raises your gaze from this crap and all this stuff, and it laser focuses you on one thing that you can control that you're going to do for you. And I'll tell you, it never fails. The second that I feel overwhelmed, I guarantee you, my simple structures, getting up when the alarm rings, high-fiving the mirror, moving my body for 30 minutes, journaling, picking one thing to make progress on, drinking my water, like all the reaching out to friend, that stuff goes by the wayside. The simple structure, which you don't want to put in place because you're so overwhelmed and you can't handle one more thing, it's actually exactly what you need. And it's also a reason, I'm so glad you guys are getting something out of this quick pep talk, because I was thinking a lot about this today. I was driving into Boston. We're looking at office space. We've got a ton of stuff going on, project with Audible. We're going down to New York this week. I'm so overwhelmed. I started to cry in the back seat of the car heading in. And I just said to the person sitting, I don't think I can do all that. I just can't do all this. And then I thought, oh my God, I know what's missing. The simple structures that I put in place for me. The simple structures that always make me feel a little bit more in control. They've literally gone by the wayside because I have allowed myself to get so overwhelmed. And the way that you slice through the overwhelm and you take control again is I want you to say one thing in the comments. One simple thing that you could add into your day. Is it 30 minutes of exercise? Is it a walk outside? Is it meditating? Is it getting up when the alarm rings? Is it cutting out alcohol for the week? Is it spending 10 minutes working on a project you've been avoiding? What is one thing that you could add back in as a simple structure? For me, it always comes back to this when I'm overwhelmed. I got to go back to the basics. Do you have any other question? What are you dealing with? What are you dealing with?
Just trying to be there for my husband, for my kids, and other people.
And you're not there for you, though. So is it more overwhelming the way that you think, or overwhelming because you have so much going on and you just physically can't get to all of it?
Physically can't get to all of it.
Okay. One thing that I want you to do, and this is going to sound really stupid, but do you sleep with your phone?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I used to have it right by me.
I want you to stop doing that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And here's why. Your phone is distracting you from the things that are important. And what's on your phone, the number of emails, the texts people are sending you, the news that's really scary. If you have that sucker next to your bed, do you wake up in the morning and then lie in bed and look at it?
It's usually my first thing. It's like, thank you, Lord, I'm awake, and then the phone.
And then the phone. And when you lay there and you look at what's on the phone, how does it make you feel emotionally?
Tired before I get out of the bed.
Yes. And does it start to make you feel overwhelmed about everything you need to do?
Yes.
Okay. What I want you to do instead is I want you to put the phone like in your closet or in your kitchen or in your bathroom, plug it in, leave the ringer on, because if your kids need to reach you, they can call you. I'm not going to text you. Tell work, if you need to reach me at 2 o'clock in the morning, don't send me an email, don't send me a text, call me, okay? And then I want you to go to bed. I want you to wake up. You're going to thank the Lord that you woke up. You're going to think about one thing that you're really grateful for to settle yourself, okay? And then you're going to get up.
Okay.
You're going to get up, and then I want you to go out in your kitchen before the madness happens with the kids in school, and it's back to school, and it's overwhelming, isn't it? And I want you to take 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes to just sit and think about what you need for you today.
Okay.
Just one thing.
Okay.
Just one thing. Are you going to call your mother today? Are you going to read a book for 20 minutes today? Are you going to go for a walk at lunch today? What's one thing you're going to do for you?
Okay.
And then let the rest of the day unfold.
Okay.
You can then look at your phone and get overwhelmed, but I want you to at least start a tiny little self-care practice in the morning.
Okay.
If you like to pray, when you get out of bed, don't pray in bed. You can thank God for the fact that you got up, but get out of bed.
Okay.
Go into the kitchen, do your morning prayers, think about one thing for you.
Okay.
Then let the rest of the world in.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I want you to just crack open a little bit for you, and then it'll start to expand. You can make it 10 minutes, you can make it 15 minutes. But if you win the battle in the morning so that you can get out of bed without feeling tired and overwhelmed, we can start to spread that feeling through the rest of your day.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I feel better.
Okay. It sounds dumb. So now you got big stuff going on, and you got a lot of demands on your time, and you're worried about a lot of people. But I need you to start to build the skill and the habit of waking up in control and of starting your day that way.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My to-do list is never ending. How many of you feel like that? My to-do list is never ending. There just aren't enough hours in the day. I feel like I'm never actually getting anything done because as soon as I check off one thing, 3 things need to be added. Oh my gosh, I find that too. I find myself working later and later, and then I wake up feeling exhausted and burnt out. I just have to do it all over again the next day. Help me. Okay, so this is going to sound like a crazy piece of advice, but if your to-do list feels overwhelming, if you feel like you have no time for yourself, the first thing that we must research about your routine is this. Are you ready? I want you right now in the comments to tell me, what time are you going to stop working today? You heard me right. Put in the comments, what time are you going to stop working today? For me, let's see. I was going to say 5:30 because that's when I'm leaving the office, but I'm carpooling back to my house with my husband, my daughter, and my executive producer, Minnie Borman from the TV show, who's in town today. So I think I'm going to stop working today at 6:45 when we actually pull in the house. That's when I can commit to not answering emails, to not looking at work-related texts, to stop talking about work, and to actually move into the other part of my life that I need, which is the part that's called family and time for myself and decompressing. Setting a quitting time isn't something that I invented. It's something I stole from a professor at Caltech. And the setting a quitting time habit is so important. It leverages something called Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law is a phenomenon around time that basically says this: anything that you have to get done, you will get done in the amount of time that you give to it. So let me just ask you this. If you think about your to-do list, if you have 10 hours today to work on it, how long is it going to take you to get through it? 10 hours. If you have 10 minutes to get through the to-do list that you have, how long is it going to take you? 10 minutes. Because the things you need to do expand or contract according to how much time you have to give to it. And so what I want you to do right now, because part of your problem with your routine is you don't have one. You allow work to bleed into your evening. You allow work to just constantly show up whenever the email arrives. And you're the one that has to hit reset on your routine so that you don't allow your work to do that. So right now, I want you to set a quitting time. Put it in the comments. What are some of the times that we have coming in?
Margie's quitting at 7:30 so she can make the yoga at 8.
7:30 so she can make yoga at 8.
Amy says 5 p.m.
5
for the
p.m.
day office, 8 p.m. for side business.
8 p.m. for side business. Excellent.
4 p.m. for Rhonda so she can do the worksheets.
4 p.m. for Rhonda so she can do the worksheets.
Let's see. Diane says 4:30.
Diane says 4:30. Excellent. So have you ever had a situation where you got something you got to do at the end of the day? You got a doctor's appointment. You've got a soccer game you want to go watch. You've got a plane you got to catch. You ever notice you're way more productive on those days? That's Parkinson's law. You can create that as part of your routine every day. Hi!
Good morning.
Yes, I decided to come.
Did you have a panic attack?
A little bit. No panic attack. But after you and Yolo left for your walk, I went to open my laptop and started to feel the stress rising. And I thought, what the hell am I doing? Why would I sit down to work when I'm this amped up? That's the old me. And I called you, you already left, and so I just raced down here to the beach to try to catch you guys because I knew that if I got outside in nature and I stimulated the 5 senses and I took some deep breaths and I got grounded in my body, all the stress I'm making up would start to disappear.
Man, you're smart.
Sometimes.
I'm not sure I would have even thought about that. I probably would have just sat right down and just tried to muscle through it.
Well, I think that is
Smart
what I
of you.
used to do in the past, but I realize I have a choice. That I don't have to let all of the panic and the stress that I feel run the day. I can interrupt it. And just 10 minutes outside. I mean, gosh, by the time I got to the beach, I took about 5 steps and I'm like, oh, toes in the sand, smell the air, hear the birds and the waves, feel the sun, and my whole nervous system is swing.
I'm glad you made it.
Me too.
I'm struggling with the fact that I feel like I should be getting a lot done. I'm blessed with all this time now, and I'm not getting shit done. I'm not.
Why do you think you should be getting stuff done?
Well, because part of my, when I was really busy all the time, which has been, gosh, most of the last 30 years where I've been working with the same company and, building up to an executive position, I always wanted more time. And I was actually have been working on starting my own side business. And time was a constraint. So I'd be like doing training on my commute, on the back, listening to things, fitting in it wherever I can. And all of a sudden I have all this time and I'm using the time to stress and procrastinate. And of course I have kids. I've adopted my 2 little granddaughters. They're, one turned 5 today and the other one's 6. And so they're off of school. And,
Well,
and that's,
first of all, let me stop you there. Happy birthday to your granddaughter. And you said that you had a full-time job. Are you working right now?
no, I was furloughed on March 20th.
Okay.
And part of the stress is it's the way that I was furloughed. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I know there is anyway, but it wasn't sort of after the fact. It makes me feel like they don't want me back. And things have been, my job was great. I was like the superstar person there for 28 years. And about 2 years ago, they suddenly changed my position and moved me into something I didn't want to do, but it was lateral, but I kind of had no choice.
Yeah.
And it was around the same time that I was starting the process of adopting my grandkids. And I don't know for sure that that's what it is, but I know that that's when I had the schedule where I had more limited hours to work, down to like 45 or 48 instead of, 55 to 60.
So they furloughed you and it feels more like a firing.
Right, because I had to turn in my keys. They shut off my email the next day. Then they called and asked for my laptop, and I said, I'm not using it, but sure, you can have it, but what's the rush? They're like, oh, we're just calling them all in. So then they had somebody come pick it up. This was 5 days after I was furloughed or so, and they cleared out the rest of my office. I took 2 boxes with me when I left because they asked us to clear everything out. And I've been there for, forever. So I had a big office full of stuff. Well, then I had 5 more boxes of stuff. They cleared every desk drawer, everything off the walls. It doesn't
It's not easy.
No. And I have, it's 30 years of my life.
So you're in the same camp as anybody that lost something and didn't expect to lose it, whether it was the college graduation or the internship this summer or a 30-year job.
Yeah.
And so you've got, on one hand, the disruption, how discombobulating and surprising it is, how confusing it is. And we could sit here all day and make up stories about, well, they're just following protocol because gosh knows how long this is going to last. And they're probably
Right.
just being fiscally responsible. And it'd be a lot harder to get that laptop back 6 months from now if they have to close the whole thing down than to just do it all with everybody right now.
Yep.
Or it could be, hey, let's use this as a chance to get rid of people that we were wanting to get rid of anyway. I don't
Right.
have a clue. You don't have a clue. It is a total waste of time to sit and try to figure out what do we think is happening. And so what I want you to do instead is to focus on what you want to have happen now.
Okay.
Because let's assume you're not going back.
Right.
You are now the primary caregiver to a 6 and a 5-year-old. You have a side business, and you cannot seem to be able to focus. And the reason why you can't focus is a combination of all of the disruption that happened in your life and the stress it creates, and add to it the pandemic and all the stress that that creates. Add to that any of the financial issues that you may be thinking about and all the stress that that creates. And when you feel stressed in your body, Heidi, I want you to understand that what happens is it rises the level of cortisol in your body. And when cortisol hits this part of your brain, it impacts your ability to focus. So there's a direct connection between an increase in stress and anxiety and worry and a decrease in your ability to direct your focus.
Okay.
And so the other thing that makes this really difficult, and I can see you getting emotional, what's coming up for you?
It's just a huge part of my identity has been my career.
Yeah. And you know what else has been a huge part of your life? Because this is something that I am experiencing, is I was what you call an over functioner. Very busy, constantly on the move.
Yes.
And right, and you are probably a bit of an extrovert too.
Yeah.
And so the nature of what we're going through has also highlighted the fact that you stayed busy as a way to not have to deal with the things that stress you out. And when somebody like you or me gets forced to slow down, all this stuff comes up that we don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And the more that you resist all of these feelings, the longer you're going to stay spinning and the longer that you're going to not be able to focus. And what you need, given that the way that your life used to be just got ripped from you, is you need to come up with a plan for what you're going to do next.
Right.
So are you going to look for a job? Are you going to do something else and invest in this side hustle? What are you going to do?
Okay, well, I might say in terms of if I don't get called back to work by June, I thought it would be smart of me to make a move to the mainland. Because the way things were going last year with my job, and I've always been this star performer and everything, just a star performer, part of the team, really close with everybody at work. And last year, for the first time, I had a full review. I felt like things that were said were not even.
Okay, so can I just slow you down?
Yeah.
Because what I just heard you say is that even going back a year, you got your first poor review, and you can feel that things are going like this.
Yeah.
And that is a piece of data that's very important. And you said you were going to wait until June to see if they bring you back. And if they don't bring you back, then you're going to make a move to the mainland.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to unpack for you.
Okay.
I am working on a book on decision making. And I want to road test an idea with you.
Okay.
Because when I hear you say that things were going downhill, but you're going to wait until they decide, what I hear is somebody giving all the power to somebody else.
Okay.
And I believe that there are only two kinds of decisions that we make. We make what I call a noisy decision, or we make a quiet decision. And I want to teach you right now how to make a quiet decision.
Okay.
A noisy decision is the type of decisions that most of us make all the time. They are driven by the noise of what's going on around us, driven by the noise of fear, driven by the noise of anxiety, driven by the noise of pleasing other people, driven by the noise of being a good girl, driven by the noise of your self-doubt, driven by the noise of all the things that you do and have always done in the way that you've always done them. And then there's the quiet decision. And a quiet decision is one where you take a deep breath and you tune out all the fear and all the shit that everybody else is saying, and you go in here and you ask yourself, what do I want? And so let's do that right now.
Right.
If you remove fear from the equation and you remove all of the noise and the doubt and overwhelming, everything you're feeling, don't worry about the how, don't worry about the when of whatever. I want you to just go right in here and get very quiet. Quiet enough so that you can hear your own voice for a second. What do you want?
This is what I was thinking about late last year, when I started doing Best Decade Ever. I started, thinking about that and things I wanted to come up with an e-commerce business. And I've been studying towards that because I want to have time freedom, especially at my age. I'm 55 and I have 2 little kids that I need to support and, all the way through that. I love that they keep me, I don't know what I can do without that right now. But, so I want to have flexibility and time freedom. And I did think about this last one. I actually bought a property in my hometown that I grew up in. I took out a loan for the down payment out of my retirement account. And
so can I ask you a question? Because here's what I hear. I hear you saying you want to pursue this side business, and that you want to move.
Yes, it's hard to be quiet, but I think it's the best thing.
Okay, so listen. So when you tune out the noise and the fear, what do you want? Say it to me specifically without explaining why.
I want to move, and I want to move and start a new life, start over again.
Terrific. Okay, there you go. There's your decision.
Yeah.
So fuck what this company does.
Yeah.
You want to move.
Yeah.
And that is a quiet decision. It's a decision that chooses you. It's a decision that comes from courage. It's a decision that is purposeful. And so now what we do is move into the execution part of that decision. We have decided you're moving.
Okay.
So when are you moving?
I think August, September latest.
I want you to pick a date.
Okay. I'll just say August 31st.
Terrific. August 31st, you're moving.
Okay.
You've just made a quiet decision. Now it's your job to figure out how to get it done and what steps to take when.
Okay.
What does it feel like right now to know that you've made a decision?
In a way, it feels calm. In another way, like, I started around, hey, I have to do this, that's coming up for me, but it's also like, calm. I've been leaning towards this decision, but I have people saying, well, you're not going to give up your job.
That's the noise.
Yeah.
So other people are making a decision not to do it for you. That's why you got to tune out the noise and tune into what you're quietly telling yourself.
Yeah.
And so you have just made a decision. You're going to move. And all I invite you to do for the next 5 days, you don't have to do anything. You've already, I'm sure, applied for unemployment. I want you to just sit with this decision. I want you to start to get excited about the decision. And starting this weekend, you can start making a plan to make the decision happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I always say you're one decision away from a different life. And that's because when you're swirling in uncertainty and self-doubt and confusion, one decision will cut through all of that noise that's keeping you stuck, and it will give you clarity, purpose, and confidence. And that's what you just did today. Good job, Heidi.
Thank you. Thank you, Mel.
And what I want you to do, if you're feeling a level of fear right now, is I want you to use a concept that I learned from my friend, Carrie Lorenz, who is the first female F-14 Tomcat fighter pilot in the history of the United States in the armed forces. She is a freaking badass. And she has this thing that she's taught me called span of control. Do you know that the majority of airplane crashes are due to human error, not mechanical error? And in order to train pilots, this is something I learned from her, there is a concept called span of control, which means when you get into a situation as a pilot that makes you afraid, you immediately narrow your span of control down to 3 things. Because apparently, and I'm not a pilot either, so don't take my word for this, but apparently there are 3 things that you got to manage when you get into a situation that spikes your fear in order to keep that plane in the air, right? And so when you narrow your span of control to those 3 things that really matter, you tune out all the dials. Think about what a plane kind of, the front of a plane, I don't even know, the control panels of a plane look like. There's a bazillion things that you got to look at. Very confusing, very overwhelming. Just like right now, what are my kids doing? Should I go out? Home Depot parking lot. People are at the beach. What the fuck? I thought we were in a pandemic. What? Like, you could start to wig yourself out about everything. You don't need to do that. What you need to do is narrow your span of control to the things that you truly are concerned about. I will tell you, I've stopped washing packages that come in. I've stopped being psycho about the groceries. I'm also not immunocompromised. We have been isolating in a squad with a bunch of families. We had some of them over last night outside. I'm washing my hands just as much. I'm wearing my mask. I only go out when I absolutely need something like Home Depot or booze. The thing that I'm doing now, knowing that my kids are out and about, is I'm narrowing my span of control to not micromanaging them and what they're doing, but micromanaging what happens when they come back into this house. Go upstairs, change your clothes, wash your hands. That's all I can do. I remind them, spray down the steering wheel if they've driven. That's all I can do. I am narrowing the span of control. So, if you feel nervous, that's what you should do. Just figure out what is the narrow span of control. What are the 3 things that you care about? For me, it's that my children, who are now running around like a pack of wild dogs with their friends, trying to enjoy the summer and let off some steam, I don't blame them. It's what is my decontamination system for those human beings that I created when they enter my home. I'm not concerned about me. I'm not concerned about how I'm concerned about them. Got it? Good. Span of control is going to lower your fear. Hey, all right. So today's my 52nd birthday. And normally on my birthday, I wake up excited because I feel like I've just been handed a clean slate and the opportunity to create a brand new year. And I spend the day reflecting on the last couple of years, and I spend the day brainstorming about what I want to create this year. And this year is not a normal year. I did not wake up feeling excited. I woke up feeling lost. Because as I thought back over the last few years, it's been an incredible adventure, but I've experienced a tremendous amount of change in my professional and personal life that has just knocked me on my knees. From losing my daytime talk show, to having my book contract rescinded, to having the speaking business basically implode until at least another year from now, to not being able to be with you face to face, to not being able to work with my team face to face, I just got rocked. And then on top of it, our son wanted to go to high school in Vermont. And so we are in the process of moving from the home that we've been in for over 20 years and raised our kids up to a very small town in southern Vermont where I know very few people and I feel very disconnected. And the result of all this is I feel stuck in between two lives. My old life, which has ended, and a new life that I have yet to create for myself. And when I look ahead to the future, I feel overwhelmed, I feel lost, I feel disconnected. In some ways, I feel like I don't even know who I am because I feel so disconnected from the things that make me feel alive and happy. And so what am I going to do about it? Part of me honestly just wants to sit here and cry all day and feel sorry for myself, but that's not going to make me feel better. Here are the steps I'm going to take. Number one, self-awareness is critical. So recognizing that you feel lost or disconnected or suspended between your old life and your new life, overwhelmed, whatever you feel, it's so important to name it. Because when you name it, you bring it out of the feeling in your body and out into the world, and then you can do things to tame that feeling. Number two, the most important thing that you should do is move your body, because all this negative emotion is trapped in your body right now, and it's only through exercise and motion that you'll move it out of your body and you'll change your emotional state. So I am going to go put on an exercise tape and work up a sweat. Will that solve all my problems? No. But it will put me in a better emotional state so that I can think more clearly and more optimistically and start to see solutions. Number three, the best advice about happiness is happy people do things that make them happy. And so after you move your body and you change your emotional state, do one thing that makes you happy. And for me, I'm going to go out and buy myself some beautiful flowers. I've been doing a lot of writing this morning, just dumping all my thoughts onto paper. And I think journaling out your thoughts is a really important thing to do when you feel stuck or overwhelmed or suspended. And then finally, continue to remind yourself that this is temporary. This is temporary. This moment is temporary. These feelings are temporary. This feeling of stuckness and overwhelm is temporary. Those sneezes are temporary. And I think the biggest thing about that mantra, that this is temporary, is so is your life. And maybe that's why birthdays are overwhelming, because they always make you think about the timeline of your life. And so after you become self-aware and you move your body, which moves your emotions, and you do something simple that makes you happy, and you dump all your thoughts on a piece of paper, remind yourself that this is temporary and force yourself to start dreaming again. Because when you give up on your dreams, you give up on yourself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I woke up feeling lost today. When I look ahead, I don't see anything I'm looking forward to, because I haven't created something new to look forward to. And that's the secret. How you're feeling right now is a function of what you see in the future. And if you see overwhelm and a blank page and nothingness, that's how you're going to feel right now. And so I want you to dream big. I want you to put something on that paper that's out in that future, that calls to you, that gives you something to look forward to go for. That's how you will pull yourself out of it. And that's how I'm going to pull myself out of this too. So that's my birthday message. Not really inspiring. It's authentic and it's real, because this is where I am right now. And I also know that despite how low I feel, I have a choice. I have a choice about what I do about it. I have a choice about who I'm going to be in the face of it. And I have a choice about what comes next. So by God, I'm going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push myself to create a future that really empowers me. And I want you to do the same too. If you could do anything for me for my birthday, it would be for you to dream really big today. That would mean everything to me. I love you. Feeling stuck is normal. In fact, there are going to be multiple times throughout your life that you feel stuck. And what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to think that feeling stuck is a bad thing. I want you to change how you think about the experience of feeling stuck. So let me explain something about the way that your body and your mind work together. Your body and your mind are obviously in sync with one another, and your body is designed as a sophisticated system to be able to send signals to your mind when there are fundamental needs that are not being met. So let me explain some of these signals that your body sends every single day that you pay attention to and that you respond to whenever you feel these signals. So one, Oakley, yes.
Okay, so someone just commented, so you can go through 1 to 25 mindset reset on your own.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can. So there was a question that was asked, you can go through 1 through 25, the videos on your own. Absolutely. They're all on Facebook, or we have created a very handy playlist on our YouTube channel, Mel Robbins Live on YouTube. Very, very handy playlist for Mindset Reset. And you can do these at your own pace. You can do these whenever you want. And what we're teaching you in Mindset Reset is all of the killer cool, simple science around how you think, around the patterns that get encoded in your brain, about your default network in your mind and how that got programmed a long time ago, the power of learning how to be deliberate in how you think and how to redirect from thinking something negative to thinking something positive, how to use anchor thoughts. We spent a bunch of time, the morning routine and journaling, because there's a huge connection between what you do first thing in the morning and your morning routine and your mindset and focus all day long. Lots of science around that. I rolled out my journaling method, which you can check out at 5secondjournal.com. And there's free downloads there. You don't need to buy anything. All the science around why I journal the way that I do and how that impacts my mindset and the science that proves it. And then we did anxiety training and all kinds of topics on anxiety from video 13 all the way up until the 20s. And these last couple of videos, we've just been doing really simple little mental tricks. Yesterday was do it anyway. The day before was about the habit of complaining. And today, what we're going to talk about is the feeling of being stuck and the fact that your body sends you signals all day long because it's trying to tell you that it has needs that are not being met. So let me tell you some of those signals. When you need food, what signal does your body send you? You feel hungry. Feeling hungry is a signal. It's a signal from your body that you need to do something. You need to eat. You want to know another signal? Feeling thirsty. Feeling thirsty is a signal from your body that you need water, you need hydration, and you need to drink. Feeling lonely. Feeling lonely is a signal. And that is a signal that you need to connect with people. That's a fundamental need. Feeling cold, feeling wet, feeling nervous as you see a big thunderstorm rolling in. You know what those are signals for? That you need shelter, that you need clothing, that you need warmth, that you need to protect yourself. So all day long, oh, what about another one? Feeling tired. What does that mean that you need? It's fundamental, one of your fundamental needs. It means you need sleep. Feeling stuck works the exact same way. It's a signal from your soul, from your heart. And what the signal means is that you need growth. You see, growth is one of the most fundamental needs of all human beings. So when you have stopped growing in your job, or you've stopped growing in your life, or you've stopped growing in your relationships, you're going to start to feel stuck. So how do you satisfy the need for growth? Here's what you do. You basically ask yourself, What am I curious about? What is it that I could do that would expand my relationship? What is it that I could do that would expand my career? What is it that I could do that would expand my mind and my life? You can sign up for a class. You could sign up for a date night in your relationship, or read a book about relationships in order to help you figure out how to grow it. You could go to your job or your boss and ask for more interesting projects to work on. You could volunteer for things to work on that expand you. All that feeling stuck means is that a fundamental thing that's required for you to be a healthy and happy human being is missing. And it's not food, it's not water, it's not shelter, it's not sleep. It is the need for growth. So if you feel stuck, the last thing I want you to do is to start thinking about how stuck you are, because signals in your body are signaling you to take action. And so if you feel stuck, what I want you to do is I want you to see that as a signal that you've stopped growing, and it's time to be deliberate about finding ways to grow. So sign up for something, start listening to podcasts, meet new people, go to therapy, learn more about yourself, take an online course, read a book, take dancing, do something that's going to help you grow. Last night, I came down to New York City because I have a good friend that was launching a book. You may know her if you are a Peloton fan. You know Tunde, right? Beautiful Tunde. Well, she released her first book, and last night at the Gramercy Theater, I was the person that interviewed her for her book, and she sold out the theater. There were just standing room only, so many Peloton fans, so many folks that follow my work, and literally the entire New York City Peloton instructors, they all showed up in full force. And what was so amazing about last night is it reminded me of the power of being up to something. I want to just pause right there. I want to pause and ask you a question. When's the last time you felt excited because you were up to something that was either cool, or it was new, or it was exciting? You know, I think about times in my life when I was up to something. It's like those moments of anticipation. I was applying to college, or I was applying to law school, or I was making a decision that I was going to leave a job that I didn't like, or even after a breakup, you know, where you're newly single and you feel like, whoa, oh, I love how many of you are saying right now, I feel like I'm up to something. Right now, you know, I feel like I could be a part of something. Or maybe for many of you who are saying, I don't feel that way, Mel. I'm feeling like my life is pretty stagnant. It was a long time ago. I can't remember when. I want to have you imagine something. Imagine how energizing and exciting it would be to wake up every day and feel like you're a part of something really cool. Imagine if you made a decision that starting literally today, you were going to be up to something. You were going to push yourself. You know, it makes me kind of sad, everybody, how many of you are sitting there saying, I can't even remember. I've lost my direction. And I want to tell you something. If you feel lost, if you feel stuck, if you feel like it has been way too long since you've had something that you've looked forward to, I want to tell you something. You deserve to have that energy back in your life. You deserve to get the push that you need, because last night was a reminder of something. You know, it's so easy, and I know that I can fall into this too. It's so easy to kind of get stuck in your rut, especially after working from home for 2 years, especially after coming through the pandemic, especially after being in this routine of isolation and feeling like nothing is ever going to change. Last night for me, being in New York City and just coming down and being with friends and seeing how energizing it is to be around people that are up to something, it reminded me of this piece of research that when you hear it, it sounds kind of stupid, right? But then when you stop and think about it, it's so true. When researchers study happiness, you want to know something crazy about happy people? Happy people are just prioritizing and making time to do the little things that make them happy. And what we also know, and you know this too, that when you look forward and you see things in your calendar, just this weekend, for example, just this weekend having something that you've planned, something that you're going to be a part of, that just having something just out in the near future to look forward to, it gives you two bursts of energy. Two. Number one, the planning of it makes you think about it, right? And as you anticipate it and you anticipate what something is going to be like, you get this burst of energy. And then the doing of it makes you feel energized and excited again, okay? And so last night, when I came down here to New York City to support my friend Tunde and be a part of her big event here in New York launching her book, just thinking about the fact that it was coming up made me feel excited and energized. And being there made me feel excited and energized. And so for those of you in particular that feel stuck, that feel like it's been forever since you've been up to something, that feel like you're in a rut or lost, let me be the thing that you're excited to be a part of. Let me be your coach. Seriously. And for those of you that feel like, oh my gosh, Mel, I'm starting to do cool things. I'm starting to feel like myself again. I'm starting to like shake things up. I'm done with that divorce. I'm done with that job. I'm done because the kids have moved on and I'm going to sell the house or flip the house or I'm going to start that business. Let me be the rocket fuel that makes this next chapter the most exciting chapter of your life. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about a brand new 5-week coaching experience. It starts Monday. I'm on today because this is literally like last call time. I'm not kidding. Launch with Mel Robbins is brand new. It starts on Monday. Imagine how exciting it would be if for the next 5 weeks you knew you were going to be with me every day. Imagine how energizing it would be for you to be part of something so awesome. And what is launch? Launch is me being your coach. Launch is me being in your life every single day, giving you the support, the simple structure, the encouragement. It's me pushing you to think bigger. It's me pushing you to start moving again in a direction that energizes you. It's me getting you to lift your head up and raise your gaze and start to plan things in the future that make you excited about your life again. It's me as your coach between now and June 13th. That's right. Imagine how different your life would feel if I were in your coach, helping you create a life that made you feel like you were up to something. Imagine how different you're going to feel if on June 13th, you've been up to something and a part of something that is so energizing. And look, this is risk-free. Seriously. Try it for 2 weeks. If you don't feel any difference after doing everything I'm asking you to do for 30 minutes a day or less, you don't feel any difference, you can get your money back. Seriously, it's risk-free. But it's not going to be here forever. We close this on Sunday. This is last call, everybody. Stop thinking about what you need to do and get things in motion. The second you sign up, melrobbins.com/launch, you are going to be up to something. You are going to have made a decision that shifts the direction of your life. You are going to have put 5 weeks of the most energizing thing that you've been a part of in years. And also, you're going to start getting all kinds of stuff from me. And you're going to be part of a community that's already popping off. If you love Peloton, if you love the energy of live events, if you love feeling like amazing around positive people, holy smokes, everybody. This is already a community that's popping off, because what happens when you commit to doing something for your own growth is you naturally turn in a new direction. And when you do that with a group of people and me as your coach, holy cow, it's like being at a dance party for your life. And this is going to go down for 5 weeks. And on top of that, you know, as people started to sign up from around the world, everybody, they started to say, whoa, 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 I don't want this to end June 13th, Mel. I'm already so excited about what I'm going to start to do with you as my coach. I don't want this to end June 13th. And if you know me, you know all I want to do is serve. And so I'm like, okay, then let's not end it June 13th. So for 5 weeks, I'm your coach every day from May 9th till June 13th. We're going to practice new habits. I'm going to keep the energy up. I'm going to tell you what to be doing every day in order for you to start creating a life that you really want to be living in this next chapter. I'm going to help you find the confidence and the courage to be able to truly be honest with yourself about what being up to something in this next chapter looks like for you. We're going to get you into action. We're going to start practicing new habits. We're going to create a plan for the things that you really want to be working on and to change in your life. And you're going to, by June 13th, feel completely different. You're going to be in action. You're going to be proud of yourself. You're going to be energized. That's what Launch with Mel Robbins is. It's not a course where you just sit and you watch videos of me and that's all you do. That's not what this is. This is a course about action. This is a course where you're a part of a community and where you're re-engaged in your life, where you're creating a life that makes you excited to get up because you feel like your life is headed in a direction that's exciting to you. So on top of the daily coaching from now till June 13th, I'm going to be doing a monthly live coaching session with just this group all the way through September. So you're going to have me as your coach through September. And this is super important. This is risk-free, everybody. Risk-free. Try it for 2 weeks, okay? There are 2 payment plans. If this is something you can't afford, don't do it. But if you know that you need this, if you know that you deserve to feel excited again about your life, if you are tired, everybody, of feeling stuck, feeling lost, feeling just directionless, if you are really wanting this exciting group and energy, this is for you. And you know, I want to thank whoever it was that just said, could you all stop complaining about the fact that I'm charging for this? I agree. I put out 17 pieces of free content a day. I have read my book cover to cover for free on YouTube. 99% of the things that I do, everybody, are free to you. If you can't afford this, don't do it. 14 years ago, I was nearly bankrupt. I couldn't pay for groceries. If you can't afford this, do not do it. But please do not show up on a live stream and complain about the fact that I am charging for a 5-week coaching experience when I have cleared the decks in my business to be able to focus on the people that sign up for this program exclusively. That's just not cool. If you need free content, go to YouTube and subscribe. Literally, we put out a new video every single day in order to support you. Subscribe to our newsletter, which is also free, and it goes out once a week with links to all kinds of stuff that can help you. If you're in the United States or Canada, subscribe to our texting platform, which costs a lot of money for me to run, but I do it for free because I want to give you encouragement. If you can't afford it, don't do it. But please don't show up here while watching a free live stream and complain that I am charging for a premium coaching experience where I'm going to be in your life for 5 days. And if that bothers you that I'm saying it this directly, then you definitely don't want me as your coach. Because when I get into coaching mode, there's a lot of stuff that I say that you don't want to hear because you need to hear it, okay? And a lot of the complaining that you're doing or the things that make you go, that's what's holding you back. If you're ready for some tough love, if you need a kick in the rear end, if you need Mel Robbins to tell you to pull up your big girl or big boy or big whatever panties and start facing your issues head on and start clearing away the crap that's been holding you back, then you better jump into Launch. Because if you could change your life on your own, you would have done it by now. And if you are changing your life on your own, that's amazing. Share your secrets with all of us. But I personally find that it's real easy to get into a pity party. It's real easy to sit and stay stuck where you are. It's real easy to sit there and lick your wounds and complain about how things never go your way and feel sorry for yourself. But at some point in time, you got to wake up and you got to realize no one's coming to save you. And at some point, you got to find the courage to start investing time and money into yourself and your own growth. And you got to get serious about putting positive people in your life. You got to get serious about putting somebody in your life like me who is going to push you through your fear and through your self-doubt and through your complaining and through your scaredy cat mentality, and push you through that so that you can launch into a chapter where you really feel excited about what you're doing. What was incredible about last night with ToDo is she put that event on herself. She didn't sit around and wait for somebody else to do it for her. She didn't know what she was doing. She was just like, you know what? I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to launch myself through this fear and uncertainty into possibility. And that's what's available for you, everybody. That's what's available for you. So here's the deal. Launch is closing on Sunday. Do not wait. Aren't you tired of waiting for your life to work out? If you want things to change, then change things. Okay? That's how it works. Jump in. Jump in. The program starts and you launch forward the second you commit. Try it for 2 weeks. If you don't feel different, if you've done all of the things that we've asked you to do, if you've been a part of the community, if you're watching me coach you every day, if you're trying the little things that I am telling you to do based on research and science in order to feel happier and more in control, in order to learn and lock in new habits that are taking you away from what is keeping you stuck and that are pushing you to be the most powerful and energized and happy self. If it's not working within 2 weeks, no problem. Get a refund. You're out. You tried it risk-free. What do you got to lose? Nothing. You got everything to gain. And one of the topics that I just have to talk about this today because I'm feeling it is overwhelm. I am feeling so overwhelmed today because I have to pack. I have to get in the car when I'm done talking to you about overwhelm. I have to drive to Boston. I am going to a funeral for a friend, and I'm giving a eulogy, which is both a huge honor and a massive, massive reason to feel overwhelmed. And so it is kind of one of those life imitates art moments right now where we were planning on talking about overwhelm. And I roll in here behind the microphone. I am a hot mess right now. I didn't even put on underwear yet today. I've got on ripped jeans, a jog bra, and a yellow t-shirt. And I just realized that the t-shirt says mentally elsewhere. And so it may feel a little odd that the person that you're going to have a conversation with about overwhelm is a hot mess with a messy bun. And, but you know what? I've always envisioned the Mel Robbins podcast to be like taking a walk with a really good friend. And when you take a walk with a really good friend, you show up as you are. And you walk and you talk and you sort things out together. And so today's episode I'm really excited for because you and I are going on a walk together. And I've got 5 other listeners that are going to join that walk with us. And as we walk and we talk, we are going to unpack this topic of overwhelm. And I've got this framework that you're going to love. There are 2 types of overwhelm. And seeing which type of overwhelm that you're in, it's going to help you take the steps to deal with being overwhelmed, to become calmer, to tap into your power. You probably notice that my voice is starting to gain a little bit of steadiness. That's because I know what's coming. I know that as you and I talk through these frameworks and as I hear other listeners like you sharing what's going on in their life and why they're overwhelmed, and as we talk about what you can do to face those situations in life, I'm starting to feel a little steadier. Because I know by the end of a good walk with friends, you always feel better. And I want you to stay until the end. Because at the very end, you're going to hear from a listener named Michelle. And she has so much joy in her voice because she has applied what you're about to learn and what I'm about to remind myself of when it comes to overwhelm. So let's dig into our first question. which comes from a listener named Laura.
Hi, Mel. This is Laura, and here's my question. How can I identify when can I push harder and when to pause or give myself some grace? How can I adapt all the things I'm learning in your podcast to my reality? And I can explain. I'm a 35-year-old mom of a very, very active 2-year-old. I have a full-time job, and I'm planning on doing a lot of things, including training for my 3rd marathon. But I also suffer from anxiety, and I have the habit of procrastinating. I listen to all of your podcasts. I love them, and everything makes a lot of sense to me. And I really want to do all the things that you teach us to become the best version of myself. But the truth is that almost every day, life happens, and I end up doing nothing. Like, I wake up, I make breakfast, get my kid ready for school, get myself ready for work, and I'm off to work by 8:30 a.m. And then I have a full time of work, and I finish work around 5:30 p.m. Then I get home, and I try to be with my kid. At 7:30, we start our night routine. And by 8:30, when my baby boy hopefully is asleep, I feel exhausted. I only want to have dinner and go to bed. But I also want to fit in a morning routine, exercise, time to work in the 1,000 things I have in my to-do list, social life, and the list of things that I want to do in one day goes on and on and on, including meditating, cooking better food. It goes on. How can I prioritize and adapt $1 million morning routine to my reality? Should I expect more from myself? Should I push harder, maybe at night, wake up earlier? Or should I just do what I can? How do you fit in time to do all the personal growth when it really feels I do not have the time and physical or mental energy to do it? Thank you very much, Mel.
Oh my gosh, Laura, I'm so glad you're on the walk today, because hearing you list off all the things you need to do, I suddenly feel less overwhelmed. I mean, can we just have a laugh about that? That when somebody else is more overwhelmed than you, you're like, oh, okay, thank God, it's not just me. So one of the things I want to say to you, Laura, and to you listening, is that life is a marathon, not a sprint. There are times in your life where it's going to be overwhelming all the time. And one of those times is when you have kids that are not yet in a full school day. I remember those chaotic days of trying to get our kids out the door in the car to daycare so I could get to a full-time job, commute in, work all day, commute back out, make it back to daycare in time before daycare closed and they started to fine you and you feel like the world's worst parent because you're showing up when the lights are off and your kid is there alone, and then get home and then transition and then get them into it is exhausting. And one of the big lies that we tell ourselves when it comes to overwhelm is we tell ourselves, if I just hurry, I can fit more in. And right now, your life is not about fitting more in. It's about a level of acceptance for where you are. Because I hear in what you're talking about this resistance that you don't have enough time, that you can't fit it all in. And the truth is, you're doing the most important thing in the world right now. You are taking care of a small child. You are working. You are taking care of yourself. And that is what you need to focus on. And you listening, you might not have a little kid at home anymore or at all, but maybe you're taking care of aging parents. That was my friend Joni. Joni was the primary caregiver for her mother for the last 2 years as she was slowly dying and suffering from dementia. I never saw Joni. Why? Because she was in a very draining situation where she was caring for somebody with a chronic illness, and all she could do was get up, do that, take care of herself, go to sleep. And that brings me to this framework for overwhelm that has profoundly helped me. And as I explain this to you, I not only want you to listen, but as we continue this conversation and this metaphorical walk together, I want you to start to take this framework, the 2 types of overwhelm, and not only apply it to your life, but see if you can apply it to the situations you're going to hear other listeners describe. Because the 2 types of overwhelm are legitimate overwhelm. So your life circumstances demand overwhelm from you. And Laura, with a full-time job and a kid under 2, and I can't tell if she was married or not, so I'm going to assume she's a single parent, she is in a period of life where she is in legitimate overwhelm. Joni, my friend who was caring for her mom, who just recently passed away, she was in a 2 to 3 year period of legitimate overwhelm. The demands of her life created overwhelm. Our daughter, who's about to graduate from college and who is a singer-songwriter, and there's not a defined career path, she right now is careening into a couple months of legitimate overwhelm because of college ending and an uncertain future. And I right now am in a state of legitimate overwhelm. I have a friend who recently died. I am delivering a eulogy. I'm going to be in this legitimate overwhelm until I get through this service. And so when it comes to legitimate overwhelm, the only thing that you can do is to have tools that I'm going to unpack in just a minute. So that's the first type of overwhelm. Now let me explain the second one. And the second one is where most of us live. The second type of overwhelm is lifestyle overwhelm. That's when your whole life feels overwhelming. When you're just so used to feeling overwhelmed and busy and to-do lists everywhere and stuff is a mess and things are on the counter and you've overcommitted yourself and you can never say no and you're always last on your list and you don't know how to get out of it because it's become a vicious cycle. Your whole life is overwhelmed. That's the second type of overwhelm. And so, Laura, you have legitimate overwhelm, which means you need a strategy to ratchet down the stress that you're putting on yourself. And one of the most important things that you can do in terms of a strategy is you have to tell yourself, this is a temporary period of my life. And what I need to do as a strategy is I need to prioritize my own well-being, my own stamina. Because remember, this period of your life isn't the sprint, it's a marathon. And so one of the most important strategies that you need is you need to get more rest. That's it. Instead of piling things on, instead of adding more to your life, you need to get more rest. If it's available to you and you can get help, whether it's from your partner or your parents or maybe other moms in your mom group or that you know that have kids the same age, maybe you can swap time on the weekends so you can get time alone to do something like going to a yoga class or doing something for yourself. But your tool right now is ratchet down the pressure and stress. Remind yourself that this is a temporary period of your life where you are legitimately going to feel overwhelmed and it will pass. And with regard to your question about the morning routine, the $1 Million Morning Routine, which by the way, is something I explained in our episode about morning routines. And I will link to that episode in the show notes for you. But my $1 Million Morning Routine, which is grounded in science and helps me feel like $1 million and gives my days structure, it's 20 to 30 minutes long, tops. I don't care how overwhelmed you are, you can fit it in. You get up when the alarm rings, you make the bed, you high-five the mirror, you pull on your exercise clothes, you get outside and get a little bright light, and that could even mean sticking your head out of a window if you can't leave your 2-year-old, but you could take your 2-year-old on a walk, and you spend 10 to 20 minutes moving your body. And you can do that in front of your laptop by streaming a workout. You do those things every 20 minutes, and you will feel less stressed, you will feel less overwhelmed, and you will feel less resentment and pressure to fit it all in. So again, if you identify with Laura or with me or with my friend Joni, and your life is in a stretch on this marathon, that requires stamina, and you have a legitimate reason to be overwhelmed because of life circumstances, cut yourself some slack. Know that this will not be forever, and focus on the strategy of protecting your stamina and doing simple things that help you with your well-being. The $1 Million Morning Routine, 20 minutes is all you need, is one of those things.